Okay, hopefully you can hear me okay. So basically, several students have asked for me to record some tutorials. I know that I can go a little fast in class, so my hope here is that I can do just kind of like a basic rundown of some of the things we've talked about up to this point in class. I'm going to try to make it quick. I hate long tutorials, but as an introduction, I've got a list here of some of the things that I'm going to do. Looks like I've already set up my recording software, so that's done. So first things first, just a little introduction. Sorry about my microphone. It's kind of a cheap gaming microphone. I hope that you can hear me clearly. I also hope I'm not too loud or nasally, but that's just my voice. Deal with it. Second, I'm on a Windows machine. I'm doing these tutorials at home, and my machine at home is a Windows machine. I know in class we work on Apple computers, so if that's a problem, I hope it isn't. The basic differences between the two is sometimes things are found slightly differently in the menus. I'll try to call that out when it's an issue. The other thing is, on Windows, I'll hit the Control key, but on the Mac, usually that's the Command key, which is the little butterfly key next to the keyboard. So that's basically the only differences that you need to worry about. Okay, so you already know this, but just as a general rundown, we have a class website. The class website is laurenroundy.com/BYU. That's it. And then it forwards you to this weird page that has a weird name because I didn't want to pay for the domain name. So that's what it is. Okay, we have a general class overview. This is what we're supposed to be covering each week. Sometimes that's what happens, sometimes that isn't. Obviously, these dates change depending on the semester. But since this is currently being recorded in winter of 2019, these are the dates for the class. Okay, so class 1. We talk about what is After Effects, what's visual effects compositing versus motion graphics. We're going to talk about all of that in class. That's not the kind of stuff I want to cover here. The basic things that I'm going to be covering, I'm going to sort of divide each of these, as you can see here, into these different things. So the first video will be about workspaces, the general just overview of what is After Effects. Let's look at each window and talk about it. The next video will be a toolbar video where we'll talk about some of the different tools in the toolbar and so on. So this is a general rundown. I'll just scroll through this kind of slowly here of the different video tutorials I hope to cover. This is all leading up to the midterm. Now obviously the midterm, when I'm recording this, is due in less than a week, but hopefully this will be a good overview for people. Moving forward, I'll have this available right as the midterm is assigned, and you'll be able to just review all of the things we've talked about with this video series. That's my hope. Another thing to note is I am working in a version of After Effects that will probably be outdated by the time you're watching this video. The current version that I'm working on is version 15.1.2. I think currently After Effects is up to version 16.1. I don't even have the most updated version currently, but the principles that we're going to talk about are pretty much the same in any version of After Effects, so you shouldn't have to worry too much about the differences. If there's some major difference, I'll try to call that out. But for the most part, things are going to be found in the same place. Like I say, it's going to look a little different on my computer here if it's in Windows or not. But anyway, so that's a general rundown. I hope that you guys find these tutorials helpful. I am going to be posting these on YouTube, so if there are certain parts of the tutorials that aren't clear or something like that, feel free to email me and let me know, or you can also just put a comment on YouTube. These are going to be unlisted. I don't really want these being found on the internet, but for the most part, you should be able to look at these videos if you have the link through my website. Okay, the last thing I'll talk about is always feel free to contact me when you have questions. There is a contact page on the class site. It gives you my email address, my phone number. Please, for the most part, I prefer that you email me before you call me, but if you need to text, that's great. Please do. I am happy to help when I can. Sometimes I'm slow to answer emails, and so if there's something urgent, text me. I'm great with that. Hey, look, I forgot I put my demo reel here, some of my work, so you can look at that too. But basically, the one thing that some people have been confused by is I say this is my email address, the byuaeclass@gmail.com. That's true, that is my email address, but I usually use a different email address that you might see when I send out emails to everybody. For example, it might be coming from a different email address, which is this one right here, gemron@gmail. That's fine. You can email me any contact you have in your email. You can email me your assignments and I'll receive them. BYU class is just one of many Gmail accounts that I have, and I like it when you guys forward the email through that, so it's easier for me to filter. But the truth is, it all just filters into my Gemron account anyway, so that's really not a big deal. However you email me, as long as I get your assignments, that's great. Okay, so that's the basics, or an introduction to what we're going to be talking about in this tutorial series. It's just a general rundown of what we talked about, and hopefully a way for me to clarify some things if I went too fast in class. The great part about video tutorials is you can watch them at 2 times speed if it's too slow for you, or you can rewind them, play them back, you can pause them. I highly recommend that as you go through the tutorials, if there's something where like, oh, I need to try that, pause the video, take some time to try it. What I'm also going to be doing is I'm going to be downloading. At the start of each class, there is always a link to files that we play around with in class. In this case, download class files for class 1. You can download those. I'll be doing that. I'll have this stuff already downloaded. I'm not going to show you how to do that every time. But basically, at the bottom, there are also sometimes homework links, okay? So when that happens, I may download that homework file down here at the bottom, right here. I may click on that, download that file. Currently I have it going to an AE projects folder. I'll open that up and I'll work through the homework assignment with you guys. So that's where I'm getting these files as I mess around. If there's a file that I use that isn't in the download stuff, then I will update those download folders so that they do have all the files that I use in this tutorial series. Okay, enough blabbing. This is boring. Now you know what's coming. Let's get into the actual important stuff. The next video will be about general After Effects workspaces and everything. Thank you.